Hey guys, welcome to Brutes and Magoots, where today we are going to be doing some upgrades to this ESP LTD ALR-II in the LaRocque signature guitar. This guitar is fantastic out of the box, but I want to do some changes for my own personal aesthetic and taste. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to satin finish the neck because I don't like the gloss. We are going to change up the bridge. I have this Schaller Lockmeister bridge, and I have a brass block for that. We are also going to try these Floyd Rose upgraded parts. They got some silent springs and some purple hardware and stuff that hopefully look classy on there and not overdone. And then put a tremolo on there, and then I have like some shims as far as the nut and the saddles to shim everything up. The Lockmeister is a 16-inch radius. This is a compound radius from 12 to 16, so I really need to be at about 17 to 18 at the bridge. So I'm gonna see if I can shim it just enough to get to that point. If not, like, I'll just leave it at the 16, but it's much better than the 12-inch radius that's currently on there. And then I'm just going to we're just kind of wet down the fretboard and give it some oil, and then I may just spot level the frets. They're stainless frets. I haven't really had any problems, but I may just dive into that. And just real quick, we'll take a look at everything up close. Here is the Schaller bridge. And I really like these Lockmeisters. You can order them in different radius, which I like, or radii. And then they have like a bunch of different options as far as the blocks and stuff are concerned. I ended up going with a FU Tone brass block. It's here somewhere. So I'm gonna put that dude on there. And then we're gonna swap out the hardware on here to the Floyd stuff. But they also give you a bunch of other stuff like claw stuff, and then string retainer. What else we got here? We got a nut. So this is a 12-inch radius nut that we'll swap out. That's pretty much everything going on here. Let's see here. And then here are saddles or shims. So this will be for the nut, and then these guys are for the saddles. I'll put those on if needed. Here is the Floyd kit, which is the first time trying this out, but it's fairly decent priced. Let's take a look at what all you get inside. They give you some extra screws and stuff, but we have heavy springs and then a little bit lighter. I'll probably go into black, which are lighter. I think the reds are the extra heavy springs. And then we got a bunch of different got little saddle blocks in here, fine tuner screws, all that stuff. But the purple looks like it's a pretty good match for the body, so I'm kind of excited about that, and excited about actually checking out this little hardware set that they have. Here is the tremolo that I will be putting on here, and I get comments on there like, why do you have a Floyd if you're putting a tremolo on there? I don't think people understand how these work. When I get comments like that, it seems like they don't understand. So this allows you to have full floating, or you can have like a stop, so you're only basically able to dive down on stuff. So you set that with that, but I leave it like all the way up here so it's out of the way. So I always have full floating, and then you can lock it up by just screwing these guys down, and that makes it like a hardtail. But it makes, as far as if you're changing basically like tunings or whatever, or strings, it makes life so much simpler. I just lock this in place, and then I set the tuning that I want, and then I just lock down everything, and then I open this guy back up so it's full floating, and then I just adjust the claw screws to get the proper tension on the bridge to pull me back into tune. And it's as easy as that. But it's the best of three worlds, and I love these trim modes. And real quick, I wanted to tell you guys. So as far as doing the neck, I use like 600 basically sandpaper, but you want to make sure you use like a silica sandpaper or something that has a very even grit to it, not like the standard old school, because like the grain on the grit is not 100% the same. So sometimes you'll have like a heavier grain and it'll dig deeper. You want something like this that allows you to have a nice even sand across it. So we'll just do that, and I will time lapse everything so it goes quicker, and then we'll talk about everything at the end. And just one last thing, I'm going to try to swap out the volume and three-way. I like the toggle switch closer than it being so far away, and I don't really use the volume other than just turning on off the guitar signal. So I'm gonna try and see if those two can swap. Otherwise, I'm just leaving the electronics be because I'm pretty happy with the Duncans. Although I may do a Hot Rails single coil in the neck at some time in the future. Kind of unsure on that because right now I'm pretty happy with the way it is. All right, guys, so it's all done. Let's take a look at the top here. I am really liking the purple screws. These aren't titanium, but they're just colored purple. I switched over this. The volume was easy, but this hole here it needs to be 12 millimeter. I think it was much smaller than that. I think it was around 10 or something like that. So I just enlarged it with a Dremel. I was able to get everything back in place. And I'm happy about that. I like this closer and this more out of the way. All personal preference. Let's see what else. Everything went on the bridge okay. I didn't end up shimming it. I need to get like some 0.05 millimeter shims because I need some smaller shims than what I have because it was just going up too much. So I kept a 16-inch radius, which is better than the 12 that was on there, but I'll eventually go back and make it more like an 18 or so. Coming up through here, I didn't do much to the neck other than just put some oil on the fretboard. From the factory, these things come pretty dry, so it's a good idea just to let them soak in a little bit. Here is the nut and the purple screws, which again I like. It's a nice little highlight. Didn't do anything back through here except for tighten down these screws. And then also, not many people know this, but you can tighten this Phillips screw and the tuner buttons to tighten up the action on here. So if you find that if you just bump it and it moves, you can tighten it down where it takes a bit more effort to turn it, which is what I do. That's what I prefer, unless I'm using like a barrel tuner, which with those you don't really have to worry about it so much. Let's see. Let's go back to here. Back here. Here is the new cavity. So you have the tremolo in here, the brass block, and 3 black standard heavy-duty springs. Back here we have the satin neck mod. You can see how smooth that came out, and I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, you can just go right here, and you can feel your finger just come to a stop over the gloss. So I absolutely love doing that. Nothing really changed back here. I did want to add though that I was wrong in my first video. These are lumen lay side dots on here. So again, more value for your money. Really this is just an awesome guitar out of the box. Really the only thing I might do is I'm a rails guy, so I might swap out to rails. Other than that, I'm really happy with it overall. And again, this is all just little nitpicky stuff. It's badass, just right out of the box. All right, guys, so that is it. Pretty quick and simple video today. None of these mods are too in-depth. They're not too hard to do on your own, even if you're kind of new to, changing out parts on a guitar. I didn't end up leveling the fretboard because I really wasn't having a problem with it. And later on down the road, if I need to do that, I will. But one thing I won't have to do is change out the frets because these are stainless steel, which again is a nice inclusion. So thanks, Andy, for that. But overall, I really like the way it came out. I love the purple. I don't think it's overkill. It's just enough to make it pop a little bit more. Over here on the satin neck, I'm happy with that way that turned out. Again, it plays so much better with this. So I do this to all my gloss neck guitars. And yep, so that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them and I'll be happy to answer them. And until next time, I will see you guys later, and I will leave you now with a brief playthrough of a King Diamond song.
Sumerian burial practices and funerary incantations. It is entitled